are you ready for some first love?
Can never forget your first love.
No, sadly.
Sadly.
Well, it always has that sort of little bittersweet tang to it because, well, it's first for a reason, right? So, do you remember your first love?
I do. I do
Yeah, you're
remember
giving me
that.
the same expression.
That's the expression, or else it's like, yes, we're first love, and that was it. Like, I completely am stunned by these people. And there are people, like a good friend of mine from high school, her brother and his wife were high school sweethearts. And like they've been married a bazillion years now. I love those stories.
Yes, yes, because they're kind of few and far between, but I do know of one woman. Now, of course, I'm not as close to her as you obviously are, but yes, she talked about how she met her husband. They were 17, he was 18. They decided this is for life, and they did make a life out of it. It is possible, it is out there. And perhaps that's one of the attractions, especially in the coming of age, is the idea that, is this it? Because it feels a lot like it, and it's nothing I've ever experienced before. So, quite possibly, maybe this is the one.
Maybe
Yes.
it's the one.
Right, because it's an terribly exciting new feeling. Um, I was looking at the trailer that went with First Love, which is this Netflix series, or it's also a movie called First Love. It's out of Japan actually, and one of the lines was like, "First love makes you just feel glad to be alive." And I think it's that overwhelming invigoration about life and its purpose that just grabs a hold of those who are involved, and they don't have that jaded view. Although there was in another movie that was about first love, also I think called First Love, it brought into that whole question of, we are young, is this really it? And then having to move on, because of course when you're 17, 18, there's more than just first love to contend with. There's first college, there's first moving out, there's the first, I guess, real adulting. So is this really it? Which is, I think, the big dilemma in first love, is that, can we trust our instincts?
Is this the one, or is this the one?
Yes, yes. Because later on, you don't want to be thinking, this
Is it?
is the one.
I'm not sure Romeo and Juliet is first love, but I'm going to call it first love because they were very young. And I mean, that's extreme first love. That's a do not do this textbook of first love.
Yeah, that's where it's taken to the sort of pathological level. It's like, well, this must either end in happiness or mutual death.
Yeah, either or. There's really no gray area.
you know and I guess, when you've gone past the whole first love, then it's hard not to look at it kind of sort of with a grain of salt. Although, you still hope that for your kids too, because accompanied with first love is, of course, first heartbreak.
So my example is not one of them is not a traditional first love. And it might not be first love, but I'm going to assume it is. It's The Princess Bride. Have you seen that movie? It's
Yes.
a 1987 movie. I love that movie. And it's not a conventional romance, of course, but it is very much about true love. I'm going to say it is first love, that he comes back. Because, of course, first love often, if it doesn't work out, by some odd chance, can result in second chance later on.
That's right, because it's never quite settled, right? There's always that sort of residual reference back to that first love as a guide to the next loves. Now I know how to do it better or worse, or what have I learned? It's all then becomes just sort of a stepping stone. It'd be interesting to hear from you viewers if you know a first love story, because it is so rare. Is there ever any questioning at any time? After a few relationships, you kind of know, okay, well, this is what it takes, right? To make a solid relationship. This is sort of my benchmarks of maximum or minimum requirements.
You know, a first love first love story that is just a first love? Like, is that a bit like friends to lovers or insta love, mutual insta love? And it's just kind of like, is there a story there?
Yes, it seems like that if you're going to have, well, if you have the first love, it always evolves in a romance into second chance because something will keep them apart or overlapping of sort of the star-crossed lovers who keep meeting and then having to separate for one reason or another. I want to at some point talk about one book, One Day in December by Josie Silver. And I was at a writer's conference when I came across this book, and I missed a workshop or two because I just wanted to read. But it was the same sort of thing where it was more like a first love / love at first sight. But then their lives carry on for the next 10 years because it just they meet, that one then becomes involved with somebody else and then vice versa, or they're just one is shipping off to somewhere else and they never quite connect, although every time they do, they develop or deepen as people.
And then they try to get it right at some point. No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. They begin to see how much even in those brief meetings they help to change each other's. But even then, you can still have first love, but is it first love where they're absolutely able to be together? Like in the Japanese movie I was talking about, well, they kind of are coming together, but then she has a terrible car accident that results in amnesia. Amnesia being its own kind of trope, right? Is nothing is more effective than forgetting the other person quite completely. You can have second chance romance. That in itself has all the built-in dynamics to build out a romance. But first love, that is like what we were talking about, where you needed to have that insta glue. That's really what first love is insta glue. And then you need to mesh in more of the other tropes, like, as you said, second chance romance.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I read The Rules of Love and Grammar by Mary Simses, and it has a revisited first love. And it is a cool story. And I'm not even going to give spoilers. I always give the spoilers. And I'm not going to give the spoilers. I'm just going to say read that book because it has first love revisited. And it's just a cool story. Interesting to see a mutual revisiting of the first love by both parties, nostalgic about it, and how that works out.
Oh, you have got my curiosity up, because if Tracey is holding back
Yeah.
this hard, come on, we will need to check this out and find out what all the excitement is about. You got
Did
me.
not turn out like I thought it would.
Oh,
that's why I like some of those other books, the unconventional romances, because I mean, I do like knowing what's going to happen, but I also don't like knowing what's going to happen. Occasionally I like a surprise, and that was a good surprise. Read it.
You're killing me.
Yeah, I know you have spare time. Read it. Read it.
Okay, I will. All right. Well, on that cliffhanger, like, comment, subscribe.
Tell us your favorite first loves. Tell us about your own first love. Tell us about your friends, neighbors, sister-in-laws, cousins' first love that lasted. We want to know.
That was surprisingly much like yours. All right. See you again.
See you.
Bye for now.